Laura, you want to get us started?
Sure. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome, students, staff, and faculty. Thank you for attending our Transfer Tuesday today. Today, we do have two very special guests, which I will be introducing very soon. I did want to very quickly just introduce myself. I'm Laurie. I'm from Leeward Community College. There's also another Leeward counselor. Her name is Jordan. She's our Leeward online counselor. And also Amy McKee, who's the UH Mānoa transfer specialist who oversees the KAE Program, which bridges community college students, Leeward Community College students, to seamlessly transfer into UH Mānoa. You can, if you don't mind, just jotting your who you are and what campus you're from in our chat. And we will be starting with the journalism department. Dr. Brett will be sharing about majoring in journalism, and we'll follow that with Dr. Amy, who will talk about the communicology program at UH Mānoa. So I'll have Amy McKee talk a little bit about UH Mānoa and her KAE program. Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much, Laurie, and thank you so much to everybody for joining us today. UH Mnoa is a great campus to attend and offers a lot of programs for students. We have over 100 undergraduate bachelor's degrees for students to choose from, as well as many graduate professional degrees, including law, medicine, business, education, social work, and engineering. Some fun facts about UH Mānoa: it was founded in 1907 and is considered a land, sea, space, and sun grant institution. We are the flagship campus in the University of Hawaii system and are a highly ranked Research 1 institution, NCAA Division I school, and we strive towards being a native Hawaiian place of learning. If you are thinking of transferring to UH Mānoa within the next 1 to 2 years, we'd love for you to consider joining the KAE program. The KAE program is a partnership between UH Mānoa and the community colleges, and we help students transfer smoothly and efficiently to Mānoa by providing proactive academic advising, waiving the $7 application fee and $200 tuition deposit. We provide students with the option to take UH Mānoa classes while earning their associate's degree, and we give students the ability to register early when they transfer to UH Mānoa. If you have at least 24 transferable credits and at least a 2.0 GPA and at least one more semester at the community college, that's great. You are eligible to join the KAE program. So feel free to send me a message in the chat if you'd like more information. We are signing up students who are planning to transfer for spring 2022 or fall 22 or later on. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to our first speaker, Dr. Brett Obergard.
Yeah, aloha everyone. Glad to have you here. I know it's a busy time and you're probably considering lots of programs, so I'm glad to have you in this session and for you to be considering studying communication and journalism and practicing public discourse. So whatever you decide to major in, I hope you at least consider taking our classes. We have a new school that's forming, the School of Communication and Information. It's going to include lots of options for people. Glad to have Dr. Hubbard here to talk about communicology. We also have a communication arm of it that's connected but separate. So they have their own set of classes. We have library science. We have a Peace Institute. We just have a lot of stuff going on with this new school. So it's going to be your chance to kind of be one on the frontier of this new school and how it develops. So hopefully you'll give us a chance. I'm going to talk just only about the journalism part of the school, and if you have any questions about the rest of it, certainly I can try to handle those as well. But let me share my screen. I'm just going to give a little overview of the program. There we are. Hopefully you're seeing that okay. Okay. So journalism at UH Mānoa is different than a lot of universities around the country because we do actually have a journalism degree on your diploma when you graduate. It says journalism. A lot of universities around the country that's been subsumed in communication studies or under English, and because of that designation as a journalism major, we're able to really do a lot of interesting things with our program, and that name has a certain cachet historically, contextually, societally, that I think is really important for people to think about. When we think of journalism, I want people not to think of it as a craft or even an art, but more as an ideology of how we seek truth in the world through journalism, through the process of asking people questions and hearing their answers and looking at documents and analyzing those documents, and first person observation, just kind of finding and seeking truth in the world is what we consider journalism to be. So you have a lot of choices for a major, and they're all great, and you should do what you love and do what's best for you. Here are some reasons I think journalism is a great choice for people who head that direction. Number one, we have this really rich and fascinating history. If you think about American democracy and the founding of America, it's really intertwined with the idea of how journalism circulates information within our society, and democracies can't exist without journalism. They cannot exist without journalism. And that, in that respect, American journalism has developed in this really powerful, robust, complicated way that makes it distinct. So when you're studying journalism, you're studying a form of or a part of American society that is intertwined with our founding, and it brings out, I guess, the part of the culture that people take a lot of pride in. We are media makers, so when you think about what you're going to study, you can do a lot of different things theoretically. You can do a lot of different things in terms of reading and writing. In our program, we're one of the distinct programs at UH Mānoa that focuses on producing writing for public audiences, producing video for public audiences, photography, audio journalism. We have partnerships with our student radio station, KTUH. We have partnerships with our student newspaper, Kaleo. We make this media, and while you're at the university, you're not only making it, you're sharing it with the wider public. It's not just class exercises that get circulated between you and the teacher. We put those out in the world and have people give you feedback on it. So we love that part of our program. You're part of the Fourth Estate, which is essentially the watchdog of the three branches of government. So the nickname, the Fourth Estate, comes to signify the importance of journalism as the system that keeps track of what's happening in the rest of our government by publicizing decisions being made, actions being made, money being spent, etc. Excuse me. And then you become part of a bigger legacy in journalism that is tangible. And I'll give you just a few examples of some of the people that you might know who are journalists. I mean, it really goes back to the founding of our country with Benjamin Franklin was a printer. He was one of those fiery American printers who told people about what was happening in the colonies and created these wonderful discussions that led to our independence. We have characters like Nellie Bly, who infiltrated an insane asylum and told the story from inside the insane asylum about what it was like in there that led to these great reforms. And she went around the world in 72 days as a stunt, and that became part of journalism's stunt territory, where people do these crazy adventures and then tell you what they did and how they did it. Ida B. Wells is a great example of the social action that can be created, or social activist journalism that can be created in this system, where Ida wrote about lynchings in the South. She created her own newspaper. This is right during probably one of the worst parts of of American history in regards to lynchings, and just through her words, just through the story she told, just by raising awareness, lynchings were outlawed, and the world was made a better place. So a very inspiring story. If you're a writer, you might think about who are the great writers. Just about every great 20th century writer worked at some point in newspapers. Ernest Hemingway is one of the most famous. If you think about him, he started out in Kansas City working for a newspaper, learning how to make really tightly written sentences. And that style carried over into his literary style, which made him one of the most famous writers that's ever been. Rachel Carson, if you think about the environmental movement, you think about maybe modern efforts to save the environment, but Rachel Carson 40, 50 years ago was writing in magazines about the environment and its concerns about it. Her book, Silent Spring, started out, I think it was in the New Yorker, I can't remember which publication, but it was just a magazine article she wrote about the wonders of the environment, and it became a seminal environmental text that really fueled the environmental movement. So she started out as a journalist and changed the world for the better. You might be attracted to some of the wilder side, like Nellie Bly or Hunter Thompson. Hunter Thompson created a style of journalism called gonzo journalism, basically where he would go do the wildest thing he could think of, and then write these really poetic, literary type pieces about what happened. And he's quite a character that you might be aware of. Connie Chung's a great inspiration for journalists, in the sense that she not only was successful on one station, but she was so good at her job as a broadcast journalist that every station ended up hiring her, and she became a real trendsetter for broadcast journalists. And the list, I could really probably do this all day with all the different famous, interesting characters who are journalists and who spent their lives as journalists. But I just wanted to give you a flavor for some of the people of journalism. And then the idea that we're looking for the next generation of journalists. So this is your chance to get into this program and tell the stories that you want to tell and make the change that you want to see in the world. So some of the strengths of our program, we have a tremendous number of internships with all the local media organizations, all the TV stations, Hawaii News Now, KITV, KHON, Star Advertiser has hired our students recently, Civil Beat, Hawaii Business Magazine, basically any local media that you want to be a part of, you can be a part of, and also regional and national media. One of our recent graduates was hired right after graduation to work on 60 Minutes, and then she transitioned into CBS News. So we have that kind of deep connection with practitioners and professionals in our community that usually helps to get jobs. We have a tremendous foundation of scholarship funds and a support system there that includes funds for scholarships for merit, scholarships for need, and then scholarships for projects. So when you are thinking about, that I would like a scholarship because I've done so well, I'd like a scholarship because I need the money for something, and then I would like a scholarship because I want to go tell this really cool story somewhere, and I needed the airfare and the hotel and the rental car to make it happen. And we do those kinds of stories every year with our, mainly with our seniors and juniors. They pitch us proposals and they give us budgets, and we try to make those stories happen. And those stories are often sold to local professional outlets as freelance. So the students also get paid by the media company for that story. And it has just been a really interesting way to expand our classrooms into the real world. As a transfer student, you probably have got all your general requirements under your belt and you're maybe thinking like, how can I get this done in 2 years? We do have a 2-year plan that is reasonable to get through. It covers all your writing intensives. It involves multimedia training in videography and writing and photography. We try to get you connected immediately with, as a transfer student, usually, you know, there's a semester or so of transition, but then we want to get you right away connected with KALEO, the student newspaper, KTUH student radio. We have our own student galleries. One's called Hoa Oahu. You can look that up, HOA. Oahu.com. We have another one called UH MTV, which is our broadcast show. You also can look that up on Google, UH MTV. And so when you're coming in, if you're on a very, say, a tight 2-year schedule, there's the time to get the classes done. There's a time to do the student media work. And then there's time to do freelancing and internships and things like that that can really take your education beyond a diploma and into more of a realm of setting yourself up for a career. So I hope that was helpful, and open for any questions now.
Awesome. So thank you so much. That was a great overview. If folks have any questions, you can pop them in the Q&A and we can get to your questions that way. Or if it's easier to just pop them in the chat, you can do that as well. Amy, did you have anything to add? Awesome.
I should mention too that coming up in the fall, we have we've partnered with a local professional public relations leader, and we're going to offer a workshop that is a new class for us. So public relations workshop, if you're interested in public relations. We have the summer photojournalism class if you want to get started before the fall. And we have also a new journalism history class. So if you're really interested in the history part of journalism, that will be offered in the fall as well. And again, a lot of these classes, it's okay just to try them out. If you're not sure if journalism's right for you, but you just want to give it a try, we welcome you and want to help you give it a chance.
Yeah. Speaking of giving it a chance, what are some 100 level, 200 level classes that you think will give students a chance to sort of dip their toe in and see if it's it?
Well, we have 3 sampler classes that basically reflect the rest of the program. The first one is Journalism 150. It's a news literacy class about misinformation, disinformation, helping you understand what's true and what's not in the world. So that's 150. Also gets into a little bit of the history and law and ethics of the field. 200, Journalism 200 is the Intro to Multimedia class. And in that one, we focus on photography, audio journalism, and data visualization. So in that class, you get a sampling of those 3 parts of the field: taking photos, making audio stories, and visualizing data in graphic form. And then our third primary sampler is 250, Journalism 250, which is media writing. In that class, we teach the basics of writing and AP style and journalistic storytelling. We also are in the process of removing the prereq on our Journalism 330 class, which was for majors only. But if you're interested in taking that, then you can just email me and we'll give an override on the prereq. And that is the introduction to video journalism. So if any of those areas interest you and you want to give it a shot, you can take those classes right away your first semester on campus.
Great, thank you. That was awesome. And am I correct? The 250, you would need to take 150 previous, right? Or no?
No, they're modular. You can take any of them. You can take any of those 4 classes. There's no sequencing to it.
Perfect.
So if you're really interested in writing, you want to start there, you take 250. If you're really interested in a theoretical part of it, you can take 150. If you want to just jump into video journalism, 330. And then if you're really interested in photography and audio journalism, 200. So some students will take all three of those at the same time, and then other people will kind of spread them out depending on how much time they have on campus, or their path to graduation.
Right. Okay. Sorry I'll just answer ask my last question, and then Amy and Lori might have some other questions. So I have to ask, because I focus on students that are fully online and want to be fully online, even pre-pandemic. So
Okay.
is your degree one that you would need to physically be on campus to take most of the classes, or would it be doable to complete it in an online format?
Right now, today, it would be hard to do it all online. There are a couple broadcast classes that do require you to be in the broadcast studio, but we're working on a curricular redesign that's going to change some of those requirements, and probably within 1 year, that will be a much more flexible schedule. So I would say, if a person comes right now is on a 2-year plan, it might be hard to do that online. But if they're coming with maybe like 3 years in mind, they possibly could do that. It's still a little challenging with the video production class, the 330. That's the one that is tough to do online. The other ones in the program, we're considering turning those into more of electives that you can substitute other classes for, and then that way you'd be able to, not have to do a broadcast studio class if you don't want to do that.
Great.
But certainly our opening classes we have online for all those samplers, and 150, 200, 250, including in the summer, are all online.
Perfect. Great. Thank you so much.
Thanks for the questions. Anybody else out there with a question?
I just had like a comment I wanted to add. Thank you so much for, talking about all like these great journalists, and particularly talking about how, the great writers of the 21st century were also journalists. Like I was an English major, and one of my favorite writing classes was actually Journalism 150. The best writing classes I ever took, because it really taught me how to write succinctly and, get to the point. It didn't really translate to my speech. I ramble a lot. But yeah, if there are any
our writing class is heavily focused on just the technical aspects of writing. We do cover AP style and some of the journalistic type parts of it, but primarily writing is thinking, and if you can think in a journalistic style, you basically can get to the point quickly, and then you can connect with bigger themes quickly, and that's sort of the essence of what a journalistic style is. And so it's helpful for everybody regardless of major.
So my question to you is, do you have some students who are doing double majors with like journalism and another major? And if so, like what are some popular combinations you see?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. We have a new mantra that we're developing. We're called the friendliest double major on campus. Yeah, so we have a lot of double majors, and part of that's the flexibility we're building in this new redesign. But we have definitely double majors in political science, English, business, art. The art one is primarily photojournalists, so they take a lot of photography classes. We have quite a few throughout the natural sciences, not in any particular one natural science, but say in marine science or biology, and they want to be science journalists like Ira Flato or something. And those are the ones that are the most common, but we have a wide variety of people that want to do double majors. And what it generally turns into is people who want to have an expertise in something, and then they want to apply journalistic techniques to sharing with the world about that expertise, whether it's science or health communication or business journalism or whatever. They want to know more than the average person about those fields, but then they want to practice them as journalists, not as, say, business owners or in the field scientists.
Awesome. Thank you. I've never thought about nat sci plus journalism, but I think you're right. That would make excellent science journalism and being able to.
Yeah, we need way more science journalists in the world
Yeah.
because there's a big disconnect right now between scientists and the public. And the journalist primarily acts as the bridge between those two worlds.
Mhm. We did have a question in the chat earlier. I'm not sure if maybe this student's question might have been answered in your presentation, but just to bring us back, could you talk about like the differences between journalism and communication major?
Sure. The journalism major is focused on media production and public dissemination, and the communication major is primarily focused on critical, cultural, and theoretical topics. So more along the lines of studying models of communication and how communication works theoretically. Dr. Hubbard will be talking about communicology, which is much more focused on interpersonal communication and how like one person communicates with another person, and I'll let her speak to that specifically. But journalism in general is about a communicator producing a piece of media that is sent out to multiple people and large audiences, as opposed to just like me writing one person an email. It's be me writing an article that gets to an audience that I don't ever see or really know. And in the communication program versus communicology, communication is more in that mass comm realm than communicology, which is in the interpersonal realm. But I think those distinctions are being worked out as this new school is forming. And I don't really want to speak for them in terms of how they're going to draw that boundary, but definitely journalism is distinguished by our attention on making media and sharing it with public audiences.
Thank you so much for that.
Can I just add a little bit to that?
Absolutely. I was going to call on you too.
So this is a common question we have. And so that's part of the impetus for the creation of the School of Communication and Information, so that we can house all of our sort of like minds together, but that we also have distinctions among us. And so we're actually creating a video that each of us will talk about what we do in all of our different sort of areas, so how we are similar, but how we also are different, so that you get a broad-based view of it. And so that should be coming out soon too, so that will help people to understand the distinctions among us.
Yeah, we're like a gigantic family with lots of cousins and uncles and aunts and things. We're all sort of in the same ballpark, but we do have distinctions and differences that we like to focus on. You know, we have personal and research interests that are distinct. So one thing a prospective student could do is go to the faculty web pages and read some of the works that the faculty do in terms of their published research, and you know, look at the classes they teach, and you can start to get a sense of where those distinctions lie.
Great tip, thank you. And students, you know, if they liked aspects of both majors or all three majors, they could even double or triple dip within the college, yeah, or within the school.
Yeah, well, I should have said communication. Yeah, we have a lot of double majors that are communication and journalism. Yeah, that's maybe even our biggest. I guess I took that for granted. Yes.
No worries. Jordan, Lori, do you guys have any other questions for Dr. Opegard, or students, any other questions? Or let me just go through the chat. Awesome. Anything else you wanted to add, Dr. Opegard, before we transition?
Well, no, I just would say that media in general is the way we know the world. We don't know it through first person experience anymore. We don't, our sensory data, like what we hear and see and touch, that's very limited in a modern society. So most of what we learn is through media. And therefore the importance of it is, it's really essential for people to be productive and happy, and I don't know, just to live in a 21st century world, to understand how media works, and to be aware of, to be literate in news and literate in media, and then to have that part of your life develop in college, I think is really important. Whether you become a major or not is a kind of a side issue, but I hope students in this room take that chance to learn more about media, because it really is, it's like the water you swim in, and that's the air you breathe.
That's very well said. Thank you, Dr. Picard. Oh, if you wouldn't mind, could you please put your email in the chat, so if like our students want to follow up with you, they could contact you. That would be great.
Sure.
Yes, well, thank you so much to everybody for joining us today. Feel free to stay on the call if you have any more questions. If not, our next Transfer Tuesday webinar session is going to be on April 13th with the SOAS and NREM departments. So be sure to stay tuned for that. I hope everybody has a wonderful day.